A Hawaii man is facing federal charges after he's been accused of threatening to kill Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Prosecutors say 48-year-old Ronald Seville of Honolulu emailed Michigan State Police threatening to walk into the state capitol with an AR-15 style rifle and kill as many people as possible. They say he also emailed Governor Gretchen Whitmer threatening to shoot up the Capitol and saying he was coming for her. Investigators say he later called the FBI admitting he wanted to kill Whitmer. Seville was arrested on June 1st in Abilene, Texas, and Thursday was indicted by a grand jury. He is charged with 2 counts of transmitting a threat in interstate commerce. He now faces up to 5 years in prison on each federal count if convicted.